さて2個目はどうする大野木
You know, the part of what makes villain fights so amazing is the hype. The one moment that makes you question a hero's hopes for defeating his arch nemesis one day. Honestly speaking, I feel that in shonen anime, a lot of that hype's generated by a villain showing off his power. A mighty showcase of power. A flex, if you will. It's one of the most effective ways of building up the wall that you want your hero to eventually overcome. So with that said, we'll be spending today's list talking about some moments where the villains flex their powers on the good guys. I won't be counting down this time because how can I rank these moments that are all as epic and despair-inducing? I hate to hold you any longer, so let's get the show on the road. Oh, remember Aizen casually stopping Ichigo with a finger? I do, and it's the impetus for an amazing climax of what many believe to be Bleach's finest arc. Just after a grueling battle with Byakuya, Ichigo's completely spent. As a final obstacle in his quest to rescue Rukia, he has to get over Aizen. The same Aizen who, by the way, already one-shotted Hitsugaya and defeated Renji prior to that. Now with him brandishing his new nifty Bankai to do a combination attack with the barely alive Renji, Ichigo seems to do protagonist stuff and slash his way to a happy ending. The setup's there, the music's there, so here we go. Only the music stopped. With one finger, Aizen stops Ichigo's attack and he effortlessly beats him and Renji. If the difference in power wasn't obvious before, well, it sure is now. And to add to the flexing, Aizen also effortlessly defeats another captain who comes after him. Fun fact, Aizen's so powerful that this is the last time the vocal version of Ichigo's theme plays in the anime. You hear multiple remixes of it, but for the original version of number 1, this was it. Muzan casually creating a demon has to be on this list as well. It may not be anywhere near the moment that allowed Demon Slayer's popularity to shoot through the moon, but early on, Tanjiro has a pretty interesting encounter with Muzan, still in that famous Michael Jackson form that he's long since abandoned. They encounter each other on a crowded street, and a lot of us hold our breaths, thinking that the confrontation is near, only it never happened when Muzan created a demon out of a passerby to cause mayhem. Now, this is pretty interesting, as in contrast to the usual flexing, it's not a show of strength. However, it's a display of how on top of the situation Muzan is, and how easily he could spawn an army of monsters to do his bidding. He merely sees Tanjiro as nothing more than a pest at this point, and this is as clear as a warning as he can give. It's just a preview of the strength he holds. Remember, he stands above the upper moons, and if the pillars are already having so much trouble with the moons, who knows what Muzan has in store for our protagonists. The final showdown against him will be a thing to look out for. We continue with a classic Yu Yu Hakusho moment. Remember Toguro destroying the construction site? Yes, I do remember that moment. Among the major villains in Yu Yu Hakusho, Toguro already had quite the intimidating presence. I mean, just look at this guy. A humongous beast of a demon who'd probably had muscles for days and who'd be enough to send people packing. But to further drive the point home, he completely levels the entire construction site, not with magical powers or anything like that, but just his fists, his bare fists. And how much power of this did he use to accomplish the humongous feat? 60%. Yes, a little over half of what he's capable of, and that's the result that we got from it. We let the destruction speak for itself, really. I really like this moment because it builds up the hype for their eventual showdown so much. Now, if that's what Toguro is capable with just a little over half of his power, how could Yusuke even have a chance? He's a dead man, and it's going to take everything for him to even stand a sliver of a chance against this opponent. Now, for a less popular one, I bring you Pandora showing off her might. Shonen anime is rife with big villains flexing on the good guys, so I won't blame you if Pandora wasn't the first character to come to your mind when you first clicked this video, but her feat in the ReZero flashback arc is no small one. Want to talk about the most broken ability in anime? Well, maybe rewriting reality is a contender, but Pandora's more than happy to show it off in her battle in Emilia's flashback. Fortuna and Gyus tried to stop her, but they can only do so much. Despite Gyus' act of sacrifice, which slowly opened up the path for him to become the Betelgeuse that we all know from Season 1, they're all no match for the Witch of Vainglory, who seems to be content on toying with them. None of these small fries stand a chance against her, and it takes Emilia and the plot to finally put an end to her run. Temporarily. How's that for a first half of the list? Before we keep going though, I'd like to introduce you to today's sponsor, ExpressVPN. Now, a lot of you may have heard of VPNs and what they do, but have you ever run into the problem of picking the right one? I'm here to simplify things for you by introducing you to my pick. ExpressVPN's been my friend for who knows how long. It's the easiest to use and the most effective one out there. When I traveled the world and didn't want to miss a beat in following my weekly anime, ExpressVPN, it was always there for me. I recently used it to watch some Kill La Kill fights. Just open ExpressVPN and select the United States server and boom! Now you can use it to watch hundreds of different anime which aren't available in your region. Your data and online privacy is also safe, and this is especially important in countries with more stringent rules on online activities. If you're interested, then don't forget to click on www.expressvpn.com/ViniiTube or follow my link in the description box. With such a cheap starting price for the comfort you'll be getting, you aren't going to find a better deal elsewhere. Now, back to the show. If there's a beatdown that Luffy wouldn't be forgetting anytime soon, it's the one he suffered at the hands of Crocodile. It's a harrowing sight that I still remember vividly to this day. Luffy's first battle against Crocodile is as ill-fated as it could possibly be, despite all the bravado he displayed in front of Vivi. The battle seems skewed towards Luffy at first, with our hero being a house of fire in unloading attacks on the Master of Sand. However, the momentum doesn't last long, as it's pretty obvious that as the battle rages on, Crocodile's completely in control. He might not be landing hits on Luffy, but in due time, the Straw Hats leader's luck will run out. And run out it did. And with it came a beatdown of insane proportions. Crocodile finally decided that playtime's over, and he verbally breaks down Luffy while unleashing his true power. He finally finishes the battle by dehydrating his opponent, and even the last-ditch heroic wind isn't enough, and Luffy gets left for dead after getting impaled mid-talk. This is one of the biggest defeats I've ever seen Luffy suffer to that point, and for sure it did leave a mark on me. We really get a glimpse of how powerful Crocodile was back then, and it sure made me anticipate the eventual rematch between the two. Next, we have Madana facing off against the Shinobi Alliance. You know he's bound to show up on the list somewhere. Madara's dismantling of the Shinobi Alliance is not only a one-man army moment to remember, it's also a big-time flex of his powers. We all heard the murmur and the hype before about this Uchiha ancestor and all, but this time he finally shows up to confirm all those bold claims about his might. What more needs to be said about this moment besides it being one of the strongest final villain debuts in Battle Shonen? Yes, I intentionally used final villain because he's the one who fits the bill the most as an endgame enemy amongst the contenders. He's broken as hell, and he's not shy about showing it off. He then follows this up with some more insane feats that we love to see. The guy never stops flexing, even as he solos the Kages after this moment. Broken shonen villain galore continues with Utsuro. If Naruto has Madara and Bleach has Aizen, Gintama has Utsuro. Utsuro has the honor of giving us one of the best final fights in shonen anime, as seen in this other video of mine, but we all have to look back at humble beginnings. Utsuro is right up there in the gallery of most broken anime antagonists, and the decisive fight against him is basically a showcase of how insane this guy is. Gintoki gets stomped pretty easily, but then the Shinsengumi comes in and gets their ass kicked as well. Even Kamui and Umibos are no match for him. Is there anything stopping Utsuro at this point? Well, we know by the end of Gintama, but at that point, it did seem that all hope was lost. It felt like it would take a complete miracle to even scratch him, and that's how you can tell a villain has done some very successful flexing on the heroes. Of course, one of the most broken villains in anime makes an appearance. Well, how does Father display his godlike powers? Make a second sun. Yeah, sounds insane, right? But that's just how Father demonstrates the plane he's at when he finally acquires his godlike powers. As someone who has complete control over the laws of physics and chemistry, he just showcases his power by doing the impossible. No longer trapped within the flask, Father proceeds to create a second sun in the palm of his hands. Yeah, there could be more uses for his newfound power, but what's a little gloating and flexing while seated atop your throne, right? It's all about sending a message, this is, you see. And the rules of the world, everything that humanity has come to know about the world we live in, no longer apply to Father. He quite literally has the world in the palm of his hands, and there's no better thing to do than to let everyone know it. That just shows how crazy powerful Father had become. I mean, is there anything stopping him at this point? So what do you think of this list? Enough anime villain flexes to keep you satisfied and hyped for the eventual showdown against them? I'm 100% sure that I missed some of them out for the sake of time, so if you feel that I failed to talk about a villain flex moment, then write them down in the comments section below. As always, if you think the video was great, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe buttons and check out my channel for more videos. I also have an Instagram and a Patreon, so make sure to follow and support ViniiTube through those other avenues. Don't forget to check out our sponsors of this video, ExpressVPN. All you have to do is click the link in the description box or go to expressvpn.com/ViniiTube for a 3-month free trial. I hope to see you next time. More anime goodness awaits, and I want you to be there.